IMF head Christine Lagarde is in the country for talks on SA's ailing economy. Her visit is part of her annual tour of African countries. A short while ago, she and Reserve Bank Governor Lesetja Kganyago briefed the media about their meeting. My Newsnight co-anchor Vuyo Mvoko attended that briefing. Vuyo, good evening. Of course, speculation rife upon the visit of Lagarde to the country that perhaps South Africa was following, in the footsteps of the likes of Argentina and Brazil, seeking an IMF loan of sorts. But she seems to have dispelled that speculation.
Indeed, Kathy, speculation was rife, as you say, going into both meetings she held today, one with President Cyril Ramaphosa and the other one with the governor of the Reserve Bank, Lesetja Kganyago, that in fact those two meetings were about South Africa securing a loan with the IMF. Of course, she dismissed that forthwith, saying that all the discussions, she said, centered around the government's reform agenda. In other words, what government is doing currently to really try and secure foreign investment, but also, and perhaps more importantly, to create jobs, especially for young people. And that is what discussions centered around. But from a governance perspective, she did say, she did give, in fact, to President Ramaphosa and the rest of the executive the thumbs up. She reckons they are focusing on the right things. But she did say that she's worried that complacency may creep in, although she did say that that's not what they are seeing at the moment, but she did raise a red flag around that. But she did also say that government needs to engage with the private sector, because it is the private sector that create jobs. So government must try and engage with the private sector all the time so that they can find ways to actually make sure that they work together in growing the economy. She did mention bottlenecks, for example, and mentioned the price of data, citing that as an example of something that needs to be unlocked or something needs to be done on that score, saying it is up to government to actually engage the private sector to make sure that they do indeed invest in the economy so that together they can create the jobs that the country needs so desperately at this time.
So, while all that is all good and well, Vuyo, do we know why she was in South Africa? Why did she come to the country?
Well, it's part of from what the IMF is telling us, it's part of an annual tour that she makes to the continent. And from what she told us, she was invited by President Cyril Ramaphosa during one of the numerous engagements that they have had, where they have been together. One would imagine that among those would have been the World Economic Forum meetings that they would have both attended. So she says that's what the meeting was about, to discuss broadly, to share notes, if you like, but to advise one another on how to approach not only the issues affecting South Africa, but Southern Africa and indeed the continent of Africa. So nothing untoward, and there was no emergency from what she said. It was indeed part of the conversations she likes to have to sort of keep her finger on the pulse, if you like, given the importance of the IMF in world economic affairs, Kathy.
All right, well, only time will tell, but that's where we leave it for tonight. My Newsnight co-anchor, Vuyo Mvoko there.